Hello folks, and welcome to another video. And hopefully I got the it's centered enough. I mean the view, it's like 180 field of view, or 170 I think it's the human eyeball view. And yeah, I made a video last night. It was just so freaking hot. I was sweating, slurring my words. You know, maybe suffering from heat stroke. Tonight is a lot cooler. Still no wind. Got my water. Got my Thai energy drink, Caribou. And no, these are not these are not available in Western stores. You gotta go to an Asian supermarket. Yes, it is. It's basically water and sugar. So, yeah, so I'll be smoking. This is my lightest cigar that I think is in my that I have. That's in my lines. There's not, you know. You okay, old hound dog? This is a Macanudo gold label. And yeah, it is a very light cigar. It's the lightest cigar I have, I believe, in my line. V cut. And with V cutters, with the smaller gauge cigar, you got to be careful not to push it all the way into the slot, because then you'll cut out a deep V gouge in the cigar. So yeah, it's my Lotus lighter, which is the pyramid dual flame pyramid. Wow, what the heck? The draw is horrible. Touch it up a little bit more. Yeah, the draw is horrible. The humidifier showed at around 63, and so again the humidity is a little bit low, but this should have been a drier cigar, so the draw should have been like really easy, really smooth. Wow, draw is horrible. Yeah, it's a good cigar though. Macanudo is a good brand. Well, so I guess let's get into the news and information. So the story about the little 10-year-old girl in Ohio turns out to be a fake. Some sleuths, you know, some people decide to do some digging. They start calling police in Ohio, you know, and they're all like, no, there's no such case. No, nothing like that happened. It's not like it does not happen, but that particular case didn't happen. So yeah, so that, you know, Biden talking about you know, this 10-year-old girl who was raped, had to go to Indiana, you know, and of course whoever made up that story knew about the six week. So I guess if a woman who's raped, she needs to go to the police, and then, you know, then go to the hospital and not wait. I guess she's got 6 weeks to make up her mind. Again, I could be wrong. I don't live in Ohio, so I don't know if the 6 week rule or law is the thing. Yeah, a lot cooler tonight. I mean, I was sweating like crazy yesterday, sitting here smoking, making that video. Alright, so Shinzo Abe, who served from 2012 to 2020, I guess it was like a vote of confidence, and you know, kind of like pretty much any country that has a prime minister or a parliamentary style government, there is, of course, for the prime minister, there's a vote of confidence. That I guess if enough member of parliament calls for the vote of confidence, or I didn't look into, or maybe he just flat out lost the election. So basically, he was campaigning. You know, he's rerunning for, and I'm guessing In Japan, there's not a limit on how long the PM can serve. I guess as long as the people like them. Yeah, the draw is horrendous, man. So anyways, he was campaigning, and Nara, I guess the city in Japan that where he was assassinated, it wasn't on his itinerary, and people are saying that the day before he decided to go there. And if you look at the video, yeah, there's hardly any people. People are like, so why, so why did he suddenly, announce like the day before that he was going to go there? And and why was he speaking like literally in the middle of the street? He's literally in the middle of the street. There's it's called I guess the left side and the right side of the road, and had these I guess metal barriers in the middle. He was in the middle of that, doing his speech, or did he? Yeah. I'll keep puffing. Yeah, but if you look at the video, there's hardly any people. So it's mainly because he changed his I guess added it the day before. Yes, and of course Abe, the globalists, the cabal, the WEF, and the thing people say, oh, well, he was at the WEF. Well, okay, here's the deal. The World Economic Forum invites world leaders to speak at their forum. Trump was invited, and he went and he spoke. And yeah, go read or go watch the video. They didn't like one bit of what Trump said at the in his speech when he was speaking at the World Economic Forum. And Abe is the same. He was invited. He decided, okay, I'll go speak. Of course, the potato, Pedal Peter, was invited, but he sent John Kerry instead. He didn't go. He sent his climate czar. So no, Abe is not part of the WEF. He was just invited to go speak. Yeah, he kept. They wanted to send the North African and Middle Eastern migrants into Japan, and he was like, nope. He kept them from sending them. So that's definitely a strike. With the globalists. He didn't lock down Japan. Japan was never locked down. He never mandated the jab. Matter of fact, Japan sent back I think 160,000 a vaccine, or was it 6 million vaccine? It was somewhere around. It's either 6 million or 160,000. I forgot. And on top of that, he allowed his medical community, the doctors and hospitals in Japan, to offer ivermectin. So the dude was he's definitely not with the globalists, and he was chummy with Trump. He was definitely a Trump supporter. He wouldn't play golf with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. So he's definitely not part of the cabal, take over the world, and Japan got Abe to think that they weren't locked down. Whereas for the guy that took him out, supposedly he made a homemade blunderbuss. Basically a musket is a powdered version of a rifle, and the blunderbuss is the powdered version of a shotgun. So he made a homemade blunderbuss, and supposedly it was electronically ignited. Yeah, and if you watch the video, you can hear it when it goes off. It sounds like explosion. You hear like two explosions. And yes, I've heard shotguns at the range. I've shot shotguns, rifles, handguns, and they don't sound like that. It sounds like a kaboom. Yes, and now I've heard in person modern. I never shot one, but guys at the range, every now and then a guy will show up with a black powder rifle, and no, it doesn't sound like his gun that the crazy guy used. Uh, so what's coming out of the news is kind of conflicting. They're saying that it was I guess religious reason, or he was disgruntled. Now the dude's 41. Supposedly he was in the Navy. Supposedly he worked for the government. And being that he's in the Navy, you know, sailors don't really get a rifle or a handgun or firearms training. That's the Marine. The Marine is basically the infantry of the Navy. Yeah, so if you want, firearm training, join the Marine. Sailors basically take care of the boat or the ship, not a boat. So sailors take care of the ship. That's their duty. Marines guard the ship, and they also go ashore to fight. Now they didn't mention what government office that he worked with or what government job he had, but at 41, if he was fired, and again, Japan doesn't have a mandate for the jab. So if he was fired for religious reason, maybe he was fired, because he was fired, maybe he lost his pension. We don't know. But another story was that the guy was there to shoot some sort of a religious leader. And I guess he saw Abe and decided to go after Abe instead of this religious leader, which again makes no sense. So you spend a year, or however long he spent, I'm going to say a year. So he spends a year putting this gun together, going to, they do have hardware stores in Japan, in Tokyo, buying the pipes and whatever it is, the powder and whatever he's got to do. So it makes no sense. So he was there to assassinate this religious leader, and decide he goes, hey, Abe is here. I'm going to take Abe out instead. It makes no sense. Yeah, and the news is saying that the guy kept mumbling incoherent sentences. So when the police were interrogating him, they got some those things that I mentioned out of him, but other than that, he kept mumbling over and over these incoherent sentences. Now, could he have been MK Ultra? It's possible. Because again, the globalists probably don't like Abe, because he's definitely not doesn't go along with their plan. But in either way, rip Abe. May he rest in peace. When you go before I don't forget his name, the Lord of the Underworld that judges people in I guess in Japanese culture. No, I don't forget his name. It's Lord. I'm trying to think here. Enma. I think it's Lord Enma. So yeah. So when you go before Lord Enma and you get judged, may you go to the path that leads to salvation, or or the path, may he go to the path that leads to salvation, and not the path that leads to hell. Yeah, I mean, Eastern and Western mythology about the after death is a little bit different. Again, in Chinese and in Japanese mythology or religion, is that after you die, everyone is judged. And of course, in Japan, it's Lord Enma, the Lord of the underworld, or the Lord of the afterlife. He's the one that judges you. If you go, if you get, you go to salvation, which is heaven, or you get punishment, which is in hell. Okay, and and of course in Sri Lanka, they've been rioting for 2 months, and they finally gotten inside the I guess presidential palace. Let's go call it a castle, but presidential palace. You know, they're all up inside of it. They then went and I guess went to the central bank, which is where they should have went first. So they took out the prime minister's house, the president's house. So I guess they got out of Sri Lanka. Now I always thought Sri Lanka was part of India, but it's actually a small island nation off the southwest coast of India. Yeah, I guess they got their own president, prime minister, central bank. And one thing I have to, I guess, give prompts to is that whoever is the chief of police or whoever is the national police head for not ordering the police officers to open fire. And if you look at the video, they're all carrying sticks, so none of them are actually carrying any firearms to begin with. But yeah, but it could have easily turned bloody. But the police or the head of the police, you know, are just telling his officers, hey, you know, take sticks with you, don't take any guns, you know, and props to them that it didn't turn bloody, unlike in the Netherlands where it could have turned bloody. You know, if the cops in the Netherlands are shooting now, imagine when the farmers and when the rioters do start, you know, going after the government buildings and stuff. Yeah, it's going to turn bloody. And of course, in the Netherlands, you know, Germany, Italian farmers are following the Bill Gates Foundation funded New Age food plant burnt to the ground. Yeah, it literally burnt to the ground. So even the New Age, food processing centers are not immune to fire. And yeah, hey, number one, I ain't eating bugs. I ain't eating worms. Yes, and in parts of the world, you know, South America, and I guess I'll concentrate on Asia, because that's what I'm familiar with, where they do have bugs as part of their diet. It's not like bugs the only thing they eat. You know, they do eat chicken, pork, and beef. But specifically in Vietnam and Thailand, they're actually running out of bugs there. Bugs in the wild that are wild caught or just being eaten up. The farmers cannot keep up with the bug demand. And the thing with bugs and worms is that you can produce them, but when you try to mass produce, you can produce them in large quantities and things like that. But when you try to go mass produce, for some reason, the bugs don't like it. You know, if mass producing of bugs was viable, you know, Asia would have done it already. You know, Thailand, Vietnam, you know, Cambodia, parts of China, they would have done it already. If mass production, you know, Philippines. Yeah, there's a video of a guy who is in the Philippines where he's because you don't know what he's cooking at first, because he shows a pot, oil, you know, they're throwing in like some herbs, and he's like, okay, what is this guy cooking? And he throws in like a whole bowl of like mealworms or superworm. Yeah, actually it was superworms. I was like, oh man, yeah, and yeah, they fried it up, bro. No, they fried it up nice and crispy. No, they put it on the table and they were, you know, just chomping down, enjoying it. He and his buddies. And of course, they show the video of that video of Nicole Kidman. I'm going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs. No, you didn't eat nothing, lady. All she did was take out 1 or 2 worms. You know, there's I guess there's in one of the sections of the clip, it looked like she was about to barf. No, the elites want you eating bugs and worms while they eat where they eat, steak, the real meat. Yeah, and yes, just if you want to see it, it's on YouTube. YouTube hasn't blocked these videos. I don't know why. I don't see why YouTube would. There are plenty of videos out there of folks cooking and actually eating bugs, not like Nicole Kidman, where she's, eating these raw worms and raw crickets. You're supposed to cook them, dummy. Yeah, so mass producing of bugs don't work. Somebody? Driveway? No? Hey, what you got there, dog? I think she got another cicada. Yep. Luckily they don't sting, so... Yeah, it's getting hot now. Yes, and of course the soy meat, I call it trans meat. No matter what chemicals you add to soy, and no matter how you dress it up, don't matter if you put it on a printer and print it out to look like a piece of ribeye steak or a T-bone steak, it's still, or how you flavor it up, it's still not meat. It's soy that's dressed up, flavored up to look like beef, or chicken. They're beef, chicken, pork, but beef is the main one that they're going after. Sweaty. Hey, what are you doing that bug? She doesn't eat them, just kills them. Yeah, took it in the house. I'll have to pick it up later. Whew, yeah, it's now getting hot. So, yeah, if you look at the ash, it's a nice ash, actually a nice white, no peppery ash at all. So this means that the leaf for this cigar was from I guess from soil that was rich in mineral, mainly ash, volcanic ash. So we'll see what comes of the Dutch farmers. They're still protesting over there. It hasn't turned into riots yet. And I don't know if you consider spraying poop on the government buildings as riot, but that's funny. And of course, I guess I'll close it on Ukraine. So it looks like the Donbass, actually the Luhansk, the LPR, they've been liberated. They are liberated. DPR, the Donetsk People's Republic, they are about to be liberated. And it looks like Putin, he's going for Ukraine. Now, supposedly he's got troops in the northern part of Ukraine between Poland and Ukraine. Maybe he's got troops there to keep the troops that NATO and the U.S. has stockpiled in Poland. It's like, hey, look, I got troops here. You guys try to come across, we're going to take you out. And according to Putin, he doesn't mention. Now he says that we're using the minimal force, the minimal Russian force. You haven't seen the full power of the Russian military, but some analysts are saying that he's only still like 5% of the Russian military, and if you're on alt media and if you watch the videos, if you look at their tanks, their helicopters and stuff, they're old looking. They're kind of dilapidated looking. That's the first thing I noticed. Like, man, why are these tanks, armored personnel carriers? I said, well, maybe it's just Russia, but I guess it turns out that they're sending, the minimal amount of troops with, I guess, some of the older gears that if it gets blown up by the Ukrainian military, it's no loss. And yes, the Pedal Peter and NATO, they will try to push World War III with Russia and China, and I bet you India will join, Russia and China, Pakistan. Even though Pakistan and India don't like each other, but Pakistan will definitely join. Turkey, I don't know if Turkey's part of NATO, but for some reason Turkey's a friend of Russia, so I don't know. Man, this cigar is not. The draw is still hard. Now I have a poker that I used to use. You can use, if you got the bamboo skewers, you can use those too and just poke a couple of holes. Now once you smoke the cigar halfway and it's still like a hard draw, you can poke the hole all the way through, and that sometimes helps, and that sometimes doesn't help. Well, that's all gone. Give me some energy while I'm sitting out here in this heat, I'm telling you. And of course, if World War III with Russia, China, India, Pakistan, all of those countries over there, if it kicks off, or if it gets close to kicking off, it will definitely, if it kicks off, it will definitely turn nuclear. Yeah, North Korea will join. They'll probably attack South Korea. They'll, hey, this is our chance, man. We're going to attack South Korea. Which would then, of course, force the U.S. to, of course, China will definitely jump on Taiwan. So then, so the United States is going to have the European front and the Asian front. They got to defend South Korea and Taiwan. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. But for one, the U.S. military right now, the numbers are the lowest it's ever been in history. Recruitment last year, 2021, 2022, were the lowest. They didn't hit their numbers last year, and they're not going to hit their number in 2022. Of course, if you cater, if you alienate the people who support the military and they don't join up, and then you cater to people who hate the military, and when I say hate, I mean they hate, with a capital H, the military. They're putting out commercials, the Two Mama commercial, the commercial with the generals in drag. Now they're talking about the heck? Is that a big trash truck or something? Or big dump truck? Anyways, yeah, normally you don't hear that this time of the night. So they're going to, I think they've discharged something like 70 or 80,000 soldiers already because they're not taking the jab. So it looks like they're going to discharge, or it might be a fire truck. Because a lot of time when they come to the neighborhood, they just have the light, but they shut off their siren. So they're planning on discharging another 60,000. So on top of that 70, 80,000 that they've already discharged, they plan on discharging another 60,000 for not taking the jab. So on top of the lowest numbers, ever in history, discharging all of your soldiers, you plan discharging 60,000 more soldiers, and now you're talking about we're going to go to war with Russia. We're going to start drafting. So this draft is, like you're going to draft only people who's been vaccinated, or you're going to draft people and then tyrannical style, force vax these people and send them out into the front line as cannon fodders. Because either way it goes, we don't have the numbers to fight Russia and China and India. Yeah, and if you're talking about gear, yeah, the gears are now pretty equal. Maybe in the 1990s, the U.S. had the upper hand, but the U.S. gear-wise, the U.S. doesn't, the U.S., NATO, Europe, they don't have the upper hand any longer. Russia, China, India, and I think India actually has U.S. You take the actually has U.S. Look, there you go, and a nice sized cherry. Now I think India has U.S. military gear, but either way, China and Russia would have no problem supplying India with military gear. And no, and just like the mercenaries who were captured, the reality, they're like, yeah, the reality is, we're fighting a modern army. These guys are deadly. It's not like, I think it was one of those guys. I think it was either I think it was one of the UK guys who was captured. And yeah, and he said, hey, it's not like fighting in Afghanistan, Iraq, or in Africa. This is a modern army that you will be fighting. Yeah, you'll be seeing cruise missiles, modern, actual battleships. Well, not battle. I guess actual cruisers. Actual cruisers. Actual carriers. And yes, and that I think it was probably 10 years ago, where it was in the news that the Chinese the Chinese bought a decommissioned aircraft, a U.S. aircraft carrier, and they were going through it, backwards engineering it for their use. And yes, and now the Chinese, they got aircraft carriers, but their aircraft carriers is more like the European style, which is at the smaller, medium size. Well, I'll end it on that. It's getting hot. I guess I'll go inside. I smoked this halfway through. The draw is horrendous, so I'll probably just toss the cigar. So enjoy your smoke, your cigarette. Weed was legal. I guess vape, if they don't get rid of the vape juice, I guess the FDA is going after the vape juice people because kids are using it. Kids have been smoking cigarettes for decades, basically forever. Kids have been sneaking cigarettes forever. I remember in elementary, yes, and the kids got caught. I guess one of the kids, snuck their parents, got a hold of their parents' cigarette. Yeah, and they were smoking it during school, and during recess, they got caught by the teacher, and everybody's like, oh my God, Yeah, in this day and age, I guess if you catch a kid smoking in school, it's probably like, oh, okay, another day. Yeah, and these kids weren't even known as like the school delinquents or the bad kids. But yeah, I remember that. It was in elementary. I was like, whoa, what the heck, man? I was speaking with a buddy. He's like, how did they get the cigarette? And he's like, yeah, probably from their parents. I said, oh, okay. And yes, at that time, my dad was a smoker. So, not once did I ever, he left the cigarette on the coffee table, laying around, cigarette packs, and not once did I thought to myself, man, let me take a couple of sticks, give it a try. Not once did it occur to me to do that. Heck, back then yeah, we're going way back here. And of course, back then we were able to actually go to the store and buy packs of cigarettes, buy loose leaf cigarettes, tobacco like Bugle or Bugler. I remember buying it from my dad. He's like, hey man, here's a couple of bucks, because it wasn't expensive. It was something like I think like 80 cents. Use the change for buy whatever you want. But yeah, that's going way back. Yeah. Now again they're talking about getting rid of the vape juice because kids are using it. Maybe it's becoming an epidemic. Maybe kids because it is flavored. So when kids are smoking it, it's not like a cigarette where you get that tobacco hit, the smoke and all of the stink, cigar stink. No, kids ain't smoking cigars. But with vape, yeah, you get the vape juice do smell good because with my buddies who smoke it, I smell it, it's like, man, hey, that actually smells pretty good, man. What is that? So, oh, it's so and so flavor. I'm like, cool, man. Vanilla. I guess there's one buddy smoked. I guess the vanilla flavor that smelled just like vanilla. basically, you know. So I can see kids gravitating towards that as opposed to, you know, actual cigarette. They, you know, they're you know, smoking the vape. So anyways, that's it. That's it in the news. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. So 4chan somehow got a hold of the Apple Cloud account of Hunter Biden. It's something like 450 gigs of data that they got a hold of from the Apple iCloud for Hunter Biden. And yes, and I've said it. You know, don't upload anything to the cloud. And unfortunately, I think with Apple and even with Samsung, well, that's not Samsung, but some of the apps on Samsung, they do upload or back up to the cloud. And I think with Apple, it does back up. You know, or you can choose it or tell it not to, but I think the default is that it backs up to the Apple Cloud. Wow, it's still a freaking hard draw. Yeah, so the 4chan folks, yes, if you're not sure what 4chan is, it's basically an anonymous, posting board. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like Twitter, but it's anonymous. And yes, and the way it looks, you know, people who are not familiar with how the old school bulletin boards operate, it looks like that, and they will be confused. You know, normies would be confused on 4chan. I've only went there a couple of times just to see what it looks like, to see what 4chan is. But that's it, just a couple of times. I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm not really into this. But yeah, but they got like 450 gigs, and they're releasing, you know, all the information slowly, bit by bit, you know, out onto the interweb. And yes, and supposedly Hunter, like on our phone contact list for his dad, he has listed Pedal Peter, and supposedly one of the SMS or text messages that he texts to his brother's deceased widow, and the woman that he's banging, and the niece. No, he's calling Joe Biden the C word. I won't say it, but you know what the C word is when in reference to a woman. And of course videos, that video of him with his dong hanging out, smoking crack while he's in rehab. And of course a PSA, a lot of people are putting a PSA out saying, hey, you know, look at these videos, look at the pictures, you know, but don't download any of it because it might be a honeypot. You know, if you start downloading those pictures or those videos, you might get a tap on your door. Well, not a tap, you know, you might get your door kicked in by the feds. So yeah, so fair warning. I haven't looked at any of those pictures, haven't downloaded any of them, don't really care. You know, other guys are reporting on it. They're the ones who are having a peek at it. So, all right, well that's it. It's going on long enough, and hope I get this edited and uploaded. And thanks for watching.